You blew it. Capiche?
That's right, Snowman. You blew it. You blew it. And I'm talking about AEW Grand Slam Australia. You blew it. First off, you try to book a stadium show in a continent, country, whatever you want to call it, where only 20,000 people watch your shit to begin with. And then you move it to a entertainment complex across town. And we'll get into more of this in a second, but um oh man, I forget the guy's name. Hang on one second. I want to make sure I get this right. He's the guy who does James Romero, the guy who produces Dutch Mantel's podcast. He clipped this and put this together. Now, granted, this is just from AEW Full Gear, but take a listen to this. This is from the AEW press scrum back in November.
As far as how it's going to run, I think it will present some challenges in terms of the timing of the event and the time zones as far as presenting it as a conventional pay-per-view here domestically. I think it's something to keep an eye on. One of the great things about our media rights deal now is the opportunity to have our TV shows also their streaming specials. All of the Dynamite and Collision episodes will be on TBS and TNT respectively, but they're also going to live stream on Max, which is really exciting. And Grand Slam Australia is in Q1, and it's going to be one of the major AEW events for sure. But it'll be a great event, and everyone's going to be able to see it. I think the time zones present some challenges, and asking everyone to pay as a pay-per-view for that. So it's definitely something we're going to make available to our fans here domestically, though.
So, to quote Judd Hirsch in Independence Day, you knew then, and you did nothing. I love that clip. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my David. You knew then, and you did nothing. Here's the problem. He didn't know then. Because he's a freaking moron. He's a stumble bum. This guy is a socially awkward cocaine addict who does not know how to run a company. So now, you moved venues. You've tried to put people as best you can. Well, not as best you can. You just dumped people who paid four figures for seats in a stadium to 7th and 8th row tickets in an entertainment complex in an arena that are only worth three figures, and you're not cutting them the difference. You're not offering refunds altogether. I mean, people are pissed about this. People are so mad that they're not getting a pay-per-view. Now, to TK's credit, he never said this was a pay-per-view. Grand Slam has never been a pay-per-view. But you could have at least built this show up more than what you have. This is a one-match show. Mariah May and Tony Storm, that's it. That's it. Yeah, you got Omega and Osprey versus the Don Callis family. Who gives a crap? Because the continuity on the TV ain't even there. You got Omega coming out this past week going, this is going to be my first match back for AEW. Yet you don't freaking count the Brian Cage match that you had a month ago. Also, let's not forget that this arena that you've moved to is across town from Brisbane. And the day that you're doing this on is apparently some sort of Sunday holiday where over there, where public transportation does not run that day, or if it does run, it doesn't come nowhere near this building So fans are now who are flying in have to take an Uber across town from the airport. Then they got to take an Uber back. This is ridiculous. This is so, 7 P's. There's 7 P's. Piss poor planning produces piss poor production. And he mentions, oh, our new TV deal, our new TV deal. Dude, you fucking, you drew, they just canceled Wipeout, a show with John Cena, who's bigger than any star you will ever have in that company. John Cena just got his show canceled on TBS for drawing the same shit that your Collision taping is doing. You built up this show around Australia. The city of Melbourne is saying, God, did we get screwed? Because they're paying AEW to be there. I guess they figured they could do what WWE did. No, it did in Perth. No, not even close. And to the city of Melbourne, I guess now you'll choose to do your research on what companies you decide to give money to, won't you? Because that money that you gave him has already been spent. It's already up his nose. But people are pissed about this, man. Let's go to see what some fans are saying online. This comes from Ringside News. This is crazy. This is absolutely horrible. One angry fan reached out to Ringside News to share their experience trying to get a refund after realizing how much the show had changed. Well, it didn't change. They never told you it was a pay-per-view. I got to defend AEW on this point. Unless they passed around local advertising that I haven't seen, they never said this was a pay-per-view, ever. Grand Slam has never been a pay-per-view. But anyway, these are fans here. Bought tickets back in September. Moment they changed the venue from Suncorp to the entertainment venue, I was pissed. And in November, I tried to get a refund. Canceled everything, bookings, hotels, flights, etc. And they tried to charge me higher for the tickets I bought to a smaller venue. Fast forward to the start of February. Ticket Tech was like, we ain't refunding you. Bad luck. Took them nearly 3 months to contact me after sending about 10 emails regarding this. So we had no choice but to rebook flights and hotels so that we didn't waste our money for this event. Then, to know it's just an episode of Collision, not a pay-per-view. They never said it was a pay-per-view, dude. Unless on Ticket Tech's side they said advertised it as such. They never said it was a pay-per-view. This is the last time I give my money to AEW or believe in its product. Tony Khan is a shit booker and organizer, and now we have to suffer. Now, don't forget, people like myself who paid full price, now tickets are being sold 2 for 1 or 3 for 1 just to fill a 10,000 seat arena. Just shows his product stinks. Fans on Reddit's Squared Circle have also been vocalizing their frustrations. One user vented about how they felt ripped off, saying, quote, I feel totally ripped off and scammed. Went from a 4-hour event with finales to feuds and insane matches, has just become a weekly TV taping. This is absolutely shameful. Another user explained how they had convinced their friends to come to the event, only for AEW to downgrade it to a TV show. Well, they never upgraded it. They never said this was a pay-per-view. But it doesn't change the fact that they've had to swap venues. It doesn't change the fact that they haven't built any big matches to this thing. But here's this fan, quote, I convinced a bunch of non-wrestling fans to come with me and some to fly here from across the country. Until the recent announcement that the show has been downgraded to a TV taping from a 4-hour pay-per-view to a 2-hour Collision. This is absolutely such a kick in the balls. One fan was so disheartened that they admitted they wouldn't be too upset if the show was outright canceled. Quote, honestly, if they canceled the show, I'd be so bummed out, but also would be sort of happy to get my $750 back. Obviously, don't want that to happen, but it's been such a drag that if they did it, I've already been beat down enough to where I'd not care that much. You lost them, Tony. You're losing the sickos. Others are swearing off AEW altogether, saying this event has ruined their trust in the company. Quote, I hate traveling. Money's tight right now, but I figured I'd at least get to see AEW put on a huge show. I'd never go to see an AEW show again, but honestly, I doubt they'll come back anyway after how this debacle went. I can't say I blame them. You guys, the way your country's short of WWE coming back over there, you'd be lucky to get a damn indie show in a flea market. One fan who invested thousands of dollars in the event is completely done with AEW. Quote, I honestly wouldn't go to another AEW show. The amount of money spent on this one show wouldn't even be worth it with a pay-per-view, let alone what we're being dished up. And adding to the frustration, the venue change to the Brisbane Entertainment Center means higher travel costs for some attendees. Quote, between tickets, flights, and accommodations, I've spent over $1,000, and now I have to pay for a 30-minute Uber because the Brisbane Entertainment Center is nowhere near Suncorp Stadium, and public transportation isn't running out to the entertainment center that weekend. Wow. One would assume that moving to a smaller venue would at least mean better seats, but that hasn't been the case for everyone. Quote, they picked the worst location, did practically zero marketing for it. Fuck over the fans with the relocation, and now they cut the show in half of what it's supposed to be. Unless this event ends up making all of this shit worthwhile, I will not bother attending an AEW event in the future. This is how poorly they handle things. On top of everything else, this article says AEW has changed broadcast time for the Grand Slam Australia. Originally set for 8 p.m. Eastern, the show has moved to after the All-Star Weekend on TNT, which is TNT's biggest night of the year. Here's the thing here. They're doing this so they can have a big lead up. So they can have a big lead in from the NBA. Guess what? It's not going to go good for them. They're going to bottom out and do what they always do with Collision ratings after that first quarter hour. But this is crazy. You know, fans paying 4 figures for seats and then being downgraded to a seat that's only worth 3 figures and not getting a refund for the difference at least. This is Carney level shit, Tony. Tony Carney. Tony the Snowman Carney. I feel like doing the Trump voice again. Here he is. We got to call him Sleepy Tony, Sleepy God. The Snowman, you know. I hope he has a good dealer down there in Australia for his drugs while he's booking his wrestling. You blew it, man. You blew it. What more can I say?
You blew it. Capiche?
Imagine if we were all just a figment of Tony Khan's imagination.